He's standing by the way, if he's gonna be able to tell us. But let me just run through this release real quick, guys. The Archdiocese. My name is Chris, by the way. Hey, my name is Chris. Yes, Jason Salas. Good morning. Sorry, we just like boom right out the gate. Joe, sir. Sabrina Salas Mantanani is on vacation this week, so it's a boys' week. That's boys with a Z here on the link. Again, from this release, the Archdiocese of Hagåtña announces that a member of the Capuchin Franciscan Order has tested positive for COVID and was admitted to GRMC on January 19th. The Archdiocese has notified the Department of Public Health and Social Services and has activated its archdiocesan protocols. We're working with public health on contact tracing. The Capuchin priest does not actively celebrate masses at any of the churches in the Archdiocese. However, out of an abundance of caution, the pastors of Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament in Agana Heights, San Miguel in Talafofo, Santa Teresita, Mingilao, St. Jude in Sinania, and St. Francis in Jotnia have placed themselves in quarantine because of possible exposure to the clergyman who has tested positive. The masses at those 5 parishes overseen by the Capuchins, again, that's Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament in Agana Heights, San Miguel in Talafofo, Santa Teresita, Mingilao, St. Jude in Sinania, and St. Francis in Jotnia, are also temporarily suspended until further notice while their pastors and staff self-quarantine. Their churches and offices are also closed for the duration. Archbishop Michael Burns and Father Pat Castro, custos of the Provincial Custody Star of the Sea Order of the Friars, Minor Capuchin of Guam and Hawaii, ask everyone for their prayers for the Capuchin Friar and all who have contracted COVID-19. Thank you. And on that note, we'll go ahead and head into the Zoom room where we have Polly Mike standing by. Good morning, Polly. Thanks for joining us.
Bananas Itzuas, Chris. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Other than what was in the release, is there any additional information you can provide us about the Capuchin who tested positive and any other of the staff who were quarantined? Has there been any new developments with this case?
Sure, Chris. Actually he's doing fine. He's recovering very well. No other symptoms have developed for him. He was in the GRMC for unrelated COVID issue. He was going in for another particular issue that he was challenged with, but he wasn't going in for COVID. So that's a distinction that we make, because often enough when people think about them going into the hospital, it's because of COVID-related issues, but this is not the case. However, we're trying to figure out, along with public health, where did the Capuchin friar contract the coronavirus. Apparently, he's been in quarantine, or he's been staying in the friary for all these years, and basically he's just resided there since retirement. So we're trying to figure that out, who's been into the friary, because as you know, since COVID, they've been restricting visitation and limited visitation there. And so it's only restricted to the friars. So that's a new update. They're trying to figure that out. And of course, vaccinations, they're trying to ensure that all of our priests are working with public health and our task force to ensure that vaccinations are given to the priests as well, starting with 60 years and up, and then of course going lower age. But we're working closely with public health. They've been very rapid in their response to help us and to help the friary. Of course, very compassionate, very concerned about them as well. So just your continued prayers for them.
And do we know how long masses are going to be? And that's what this release is basically saying, is that we're not going to have any masses at these 5 churches. Do we know how long? I mean, traditionally the quarantine is 14 days. Is that what public health is advising?
That's correct, but we are now working with public health to get them tested anywhere between the 6th or 7th day, because that's when the peak of when the coronavirus would show itself. We're hoping that they'll test negative. Once they do that, then they can return to their ministries.
So what would your message be to those members of these 5 parishes? Are we going to ask them, hey, go over to here to celebrate Mass? Or
Sure. Please you can contact me at the Archdiocese for more information about Mass schedule. We are going to be putting out the Mass schedule for the other various parishes. And so we hope to ensure that our people who are from those parishes who are affected will be covered spiritually by the other parishes for now. Again, it's just the time that we're in. It's a pandemic, and we want to ensure that our people, that our church is trying to do its best to keep itself safe and to keep our people safe.
You know, in the release, it says that the priest doesn't. Can you tell us who it is?
Sorry, Chris. No.
Okay. So it says I had to ask. You know what I mean? Uh,
Sure, sure.
the priest doesn't actively celebrate masses at any of the churches in the archdiocese. However, those members of those parishes have placed themselves in quarantine because of possible exposure to the clergymen. Can you tell us anything about the nature of this exposure?
Because it's a communal setting, they live together. The friars live at the friary, and these priests who are pastors reside there every night, and so that exposure was there. And so, out of an abundance of caution and care, the community, along with Father Patrick, their custos, decided it's best for the people that we just remain quarantined until they can get tested, and the health officials are able to clear them and release them back to their community.
Anything else, Polly Mike, that you want to get out here for our audience?
No, just please continue prayers for our community, for our church, and for our friars. There, as you know, many of them are elderly and struggle with illnesses and other things. So please, prayers for our priests up at the friary.
You know, I was able to attend mass at a cathedral on Sunday, and I got to say it was a great mass. I love the homily, but it was definitely some vibes, as they say, to be in mass and to have it at whatever capacity it was at. It was just great to see people and to see them assemble to worship. And the whole time I kept thinking, I mean, not the whole time, but there was a part where I was thinking, like, man, there was a point where doing this was deemed not essential, right? So it kind of made me appreciate it a little more. And it's also good to see people as we return to, normal, and a lot of people are focusing on retail and businesses and bars, and maybe kind of forget that spiritual side of things. So I just want to are you
Well, we're
pleased
very happy
with the
that we
turnout?
continue to work with the governor and with the public health officials. Governor has been very supportive of our churches and our faith-based organizations. So her and the lieutenant governor continue to reach out to our communities, and thankful that they consider us essential and continue to see as partners in this. And so we're operating at about 50% capacity in attendance in churches now, and we've seen an increase. And we're hoping that we can increase that capacity level even sooner, because we saw last weekend there was an influx of people coming into all of our churches, not just the Catholic faith, but also the other denominations.
Right. And so with these 5 churches being closed, are you anticipating maybe standing room only at some of the other nearby churches, just because people are going to be looking for a place to go to mass?
They can do that, Chris, but they can also go online. We still have live stream masses that are still currently going, so they can go on Facebook or other channels from the Cathedral Church, St. Anthony's Church, Mangilau Church. These are churches that still continue live stream even if they are closed.
Right. Well, thank you, Polly Mike.
You're welcome. Thank
We'll
you.
see you. Yep. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Polly Mike, 7:15. We'll keep it in the KUAM News Zoom room here on the link, where we have former Congressman Robert Underwood and former Assistant Secretary